After Helge Petersen conquered Africa, it was Gaston Raillet's turn.
At first, there's a discernible racetrack, but it soon disappears. Gaston Raillet steers the BMW R80 GS at an unbelievable speed, and it runs reliably like clockwork. Yesterday we had 745 miles, and it is tough through the sand, a tough race, especially after we've done some 3,100 miles, and this day was very, very difficult. Raillet, only 5'4" tall, is nicknamed Tom Thumb and has to literally mount the BMW R80 GS. However, he handles the bike brilliantly. He is totally focused. He has to make up time. And what might be perceived as child's play is, in fact, riding expertise at its best. Alone and without teammates, but with an undeniable fighting spirit, Gaston Raillet lays down an unbelievable speed through the Tenere Desert, to the extent that many of his competitors cannot keep up. With the cheering of several thousands on the beach in Dakar and a lead of over 50 minutes, the king of the desert, Gaston Raillet, races towards the finish line. It was the second time that the 34-year-old Belgian Raillet won the Paris-Dakar rally on a BMW. And it was the fourth win of this gigantic race for BMW, with Gaston Raillet exclaiming at the finish line, "This was the toughest race of my life, but I am happy."
The success of the GS and the world's toughest rally paved the way for the boxer's career as a dependable means of transport for globetrotters. BMW naturally followed their victory with the Paris-Dakar Special Edition model in 1984, which further enhanced the bike's growing reputation as the motorcycle of choice for long-distance travel. By 1987, more than 24,000 GS motorcycles were produced, and the next generation of the BMW GS was on its way. Now written without a forward slash, the new GS featured a paralever rear swing arm in place of the monolever, a new front suspension, cross-spoke wheels, and frame improvements. A 980cc engine represented the top of the line in the R100 GS. The 1988 Paris-Dakar kit was designed for the long-distance traveler and featured better weather protection and adaptable luggage solutions. For the first time, a red tubular frame ran outside of the fairing, and an aluminum engine guard plate was bolted under the oil pan. It also featured cylinder guards, hand protectors, and a mud guard. It became Germany's best-selling motorcycle in 1988. By now, the GS was a mature world-traveling bike, and it had evolved considerably. But the evolution wasn't about to stop. Throughout the 90s, BMW continued to evolve the GS motorcycle, releasing a redesigned 4-valve boxer with a telelever suspension in 1993, and a sportier and more aggressive 1150 by the end of the decade. The last of the 2-valve boxers rolled off the production line in December of 1996. In 1993, BMW returned a single-cylinder model to the market with the F650 Funduro. Although BMW had produced single-cylinder bikes before, this was the first BMW ever produced with a chain drive. Although it was initially perceived as a somewhat less capable version of the larger GS, all of that changed when the bike was used in the 1999 Paris-Dakar Challenge. The modified BMW 650RR won the race 2 years in a row. Not only that, but BMW swept first through fourth place in the 2000 race. Experience and knowledge gained at the Paris-Dakar Rally eventually led to the engineering concepts used on the F650 GS Dakar and the new R1200 GS. Although BMW had pulled out of competitive racing after their win at the Paris-Dakar, the world of adventure touring was booming. More and more riders were expanding their horizons and exploring ever-distant lands on their GS motorcycles.
Motorcycle adventure touring have changed tremendously, and more people are doing it today. You go on the internet and Google motorcycle adventure GS riding, you get tons of web pages dedicated to it, people that's sending reports all the time. I can see the BMW bikes too, they've changed with that and gotten better and better all the time.
BMW answered the demand by continuing to improve their GS motorcycles throughout the decade, releasing a completely updated version of the GS in 2004. In fact, the R1200 GS is the most successful motorcycle in BMW Motorrad's history, proving that the GS has indeed withstood the test of time.
When I first got my R80 GS in 1981, I thought it can't get better than this. Well, it got better. It got more beefier, more horsepower, stronger forks, better suspension. And now here we are with fuel injection, and I can sit with the press of a button to change my suspension. It's incredible. And most of the changes, though, that I mostly enjoy, it's not just the horsepower, it's how it handles. And the proof has been up through the years. You've seen it over and over again. Editors in magazines around the world are praising the GS.
In 2005, BMW introduced a competition-worthy production boxer, the HP2. Designed with harder-edged off-road use in mind, the HP2 weighs in at just 175 kilograms and comes with a 1200cc boxer engine that's good for 105 horsepower. The HP2 is the most uncompromising production off-road boxer of all time, and BMW is once again at the forefront of off-road events. In 2009, the range was expanded with the introduction of the F800 GS middleweight sports enduro, which is also destined to become one of BMW Motorrad's best-selling machines. Riding in the dirt. It's been in our blood since the beginning. Almost 60 years of off-road experience went into the first GS motorcycle, and another 30 years of further development have brought us the GS motorcycles of today.
When the R80 GS first came out in 1980, 30 years ago, I saw it and I thought it was the coolest ever. But I also thought, when is the competition going to kick in here? When are they going to come up and at least meet what the BMW GS is doing? But for some reason, nobody been able to match what BMW is making. So it's going to be very curious to see how this is going to carry on into the future, and if we look back in 10, 15, 20 years, how that legacy is carrying on.
People buy a GS motorcycle for lots of different reasons, but riders of BMW Motorrad's legendary enduro all share a common desire to travel further off the beaten track and to experience more unusual and interesting places than ordinary riders. When it comes to long distance, rough terrain, and serious adventure travel, no other motorcycle comes close to matching the ability of the all-conquering BMW GS.